Okay. So, all right, we have our three shapes right here. So now it's time to apply some lights. Well, let's render it, right? So there's a few ways to render. There's this render view up here where you click on it and it gives us a render view in our viewport. Still no lights in it. There's a default light. That's why you're able to see. Then there's this window right here, which gives you like a, see, that's from my other scene. It gives you like basically a saved preview of what you've already rendered. So this can just like fill up. And if you want to delete one, just press delete. But usually I just keep them here because I like to see the progress. But to make this make a lot more sense, let's make a light. So I'm going to click right here and I'm going to go to area light. And what happens is it came up with a light right here. Now we can't really see it. Oh, before I talk about lights too much, let's lock this view. Let's say I really like this view right here. And I'm going to delete this light real quick. Let's say I really like this view. Let's do it like this. I love it. It's great. It's amazing. I'm going to go click on this camera. And what this camera, what it did is it made a camera right here. So this view is now on the camera. Now, if I zoom out, we can see that there's a camera there, right? And this camera is like, you got to think about this like it's on a tripod. Right now, we're like moving around. So just imagine this is three friends. There's a camera on a tripod, and I'm moving around. You're fixing somebody's hair, applying makeup or whatever you do, posing them, moving them closer, and the camera's right there. We can move this camera. We can animate this camera, but right now it's just in a locked position. Okay. Now, if we want to get into our view and to look at it just like we're in our camera, we don't do anything like this. What we do is we just click on this right here and it puts us right back into their view. So let's go like this just so you can see how it works. This is my perspective. Click on this. Now I'm in it. I'm out, I'm in. So when it's when it's white right there, that means you're in the camera. All right. So let's get inside of our camera. Let's make a render view. So this is what we have right now with no lights. Cool. Let's get out of our camera. And let's make a light. So I'll go over here, click on this. I'll get an area light. Now I'm gonna press E to move. And what you can see is you can see the lights in the scene. So what this thing is doing is it's making a light, kind of like a multi-directional light. So it's not facing one particular direction, it's just facing all directions. I can rotate this and move it. I can press T to scale. Give me a lot of options. And just like before, if you press W for the world, what is it? World space, or W for object space. So this right here, it looks like a world object. So we can move it wherever we want. So let's see what it looks like when we render. So let's get inside of our render, press play. Okay, so let's compare it to what we had before. Sorry, these lights are working. We can definitely make it look a lot better. So we have this light right here, and we also have with this light right here, and we can change the properties of this light. So if we hit the light, go to basic, we see what this is, nothing, coordinates, the position, general. Now this is where it's at, right? So we have intensity. If we want, we can just click on this and drag up, and we can make this thing really crazy bright. Let's see what it looks like just from our view right here. Of course, that's way too much. And then if we take it down to like 50% or something, we can see what that looks like. It's pretty dim. Click it again. And now we have different options for the types of light we can have. So let's just put it back to 100 and look at this. We have area, we have omni, which is like kind of like a light bulb. As you can see, let's play to see that effect. If we want to see the light in the scene, I believe we click on, no, that's not it. It's light visible. Yeah, now we actually can see the light, but we don't need that for this. Just showing you that you can do it. There's spotlight, where you can change this to this type of light. We have there was, no, that's not it. Spotlight. Yes, we have spotlight here. Then there's infinite light that works like sunlight. So there's no fall off. And what I mean by fall off is this. If you go back to spotlight, how the light kind of fades off, that's what you call a fall off. So there's none of that with the infinite light. Infinite light is like a sunlight. These other lights over here, I really don't use too much, but giving you a square light. Parallel, which I never use. Parallel spot. So, so you can go through and you can see like the different types, see their different effects. Let's go here. Let's see this one. Kind of looks like the same thing, just different shape. All right, but for now, let's just keep it on area. All right, we can go to details and we have a shape of our light. So we can keep it as a square, a disc. And all these will give different types of effects on our scene. Oh, and also, if I keep it right now on a a rectangle, I can go to this right here and I can adjust the size of the light. So I can make it more rectangular like, or I can make it taller. So we have control over how our light is working. Okay. So visibility, there's the fall off right here. So that's gonna address. See, this thing is so wide that you don't really see a fall off, but it'll have an effect on the render. So that's 5. Let's right click, reset the default. There's a small difference, but not a whole lot. The rest of these, we'll not worry about that for now. It's okay. So we have our one light right here, but we also have another light. So this is just a light kind of like, I don't know, imagine this is like a movie set and imagine this like a big giant fluorescent light that you have a lot of control over. All right, we can make it dim, we can make it a different color. Why did that not work? Oh, I scrolled out too far. And something else, if you like scroll out too far or this thing is going like this, because what happened was this, I thought that something was wrong with it. I just zoomed in too much. I'm using my scroll wheel too. So if you just double click in this window, it'll take it back to like the default state. All right. So right now we're using something called the standard render, but what we want to use is the physical render. And we're going to see the difference in a moment. So if I get back in my camera and I press play, see what we see, right? Let me just take this back to standard real quick. Just show the difference. So standard, physical. Doesn't look like there's a difference, but there's gonna be. So right now, let me put it back to physical because this is the one we always want to use. Physical, we see what this render is. Now what we want to do is we want to add some ambient occlusion. Now let's see what ambient occlusion does. Press it. Now we're seeing that there's some shadowing under here. Now what ambient occlusion is it's when you put two objects close to each other. This is like based off of real life, right? So if you put your hand on the table and you like put it closer and closer to the table, it gets darker and darker, like under your hand. So when one object comes in contact with another object, there's an amount of ambient occlusion. So the closer it gets, the darker it gets. And that's what this ambient occlusion is about. Now, if you want to adjust this, I would just say leave it. But if you did move this to the left, let's say, and you press play, we have less ambient occlusion. You move it to the right, we have a lot more. I think you just want to keep it in the center. So I'm just going to right click, reset the default to keep it in the middle. So too little, too much in the center, but we can adjust this as we need. Another thing, the most important one, in my opinion, is global illumination. So now that we have this, what it's going to do is it's going to give us bounce light all around our scene. And so if we press play, although it looks like a small difference, it makes a big difference in the scene. Because there's light bouncing all around here. And it'll really come into effect when we add our can't think of the name, our sky dome, HDRI light. So if I click on this sky dome, click on it, let go. And actually for this light, I'll disable it. I'm just gonna click on this X right here. So I'll disable it. So it's not working anymore. Now what I made right here, let me get out of my camera, is a sky dome light. It's hard to see, but it's like a giant sphere around here. And we have something called a HDRI. All right. So let me show you this. So there's a site called, it used to be called HDRI Haven. It's called something else now, but if you type in HDRI Haven, it's called Polyhaven. So we click here and we go to this right here, browse HDRIs. Now what an HDRI image is it's like an image where, let's see, HDRI. What they do is they take a chrome sphere and they take a picture of it, right? And what it does is it captures the whole environment and all the lighting. I don't even know what the fuck you're doing at the school about, bro. Come on, bro. All right, so they take this picture and all the light wraps around it. I mean, not all right. It captures all the lighting in the scene. So, oh, Amani, you gotta turn off your mic. Well, you know what? I'll just do it. How do I do it? Oh, it's so cool. All right, so yeah, it takes all the lighting from the scene. So right now we have one light, But in real life, we have, you know, the sky's lighting, and then there's like a street light that bounces off something else that gives light. There's basically light all around. And what this does is it takes parts of everything in the environment and puts it in a texture, which then we can use the lights for our 3D scenes. So for example, this right here, they did an HDRI right here. And it's going to give us light from there, but it's also going to give us light from the bottom because the sunlight is bouncing off the snow. Like in real life, what happens is the light goes and it bounces here, bounces there, bounces, and it keeps bouncing until it stops. And that light bouncing is going on everywhere. And the HDR can't captures all of that. So in all these different environments, that light is going in and it's bouncing all over other places. I like HDRs. Plus, I think they're cool. A lot of them, it seems like they're not in the US for whatever reason. I'm sure there are some. Okay. I don't know, but I think they're pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get one. Let me go back here. I like I'm gonna try something outdoor. Me personally, I like the urban stuff. And I'm gonna try to get something kind of cool if I can with some interesting lighting. So it's going. No, let me and if you look at this, these shader balls right here, it's kind of showing how it will react to different materials. Of course, we can keep on adjusting this, but this one looks a little bit too blown out for me. I think I'm gonna get something simpler. I'm just gonna grab something real quick. Let's just get get this one, right? So I'm here, and if I want to get this, I just click on download, and it's gonna give me this HDR, this 4K one, all right? So I'm gonna pick it up. And I'm gonna put this on my desktop or in my Cinema 4D folder. All right. Now I'll show you how to put put that HDRI in your scene. You double click right here, and I'll just click on this and I'll just say HDRI underscore light. And I will uncheck color, uncheck reflectance, and I'll check luminance. And I'll click right here. And I'll go to my desktop and I'll pick it up. This one right here, this is it. And so if I double click right here, we can see it inside of here. Now, how do you get it in your scene? You take it and you drag it onto the sky, and now it's in there. Now it's looking real pixelated and blurry, but you know why that is. We have to double click on it, go to viewport, and let's go to 2048. Even though this is a 4K image, let's see how much difference it makes if I do change it to 4K. Let's just see. Okay, yeah, it makes it a little bit more crisp. Cool. So now let's get back inside of our camera and let's press play. Okay, so you see what's happening, right? It's got that other light in the scene. So we're seeing what's going on. Now, if I want to, I can go over here. No, wait, no. Let me go to the sky coordinates. And since this one is Y, what I can do is I can take this. Oh, not that one, sorry. Take this, and I can rotate it and we'll get different lighting effects. So right now it's at 0. Let's do it 180, right? So it's completely the opposite. And let's press play. And so you see what the lighting is doing now. Now, if we turn on this light, let's see what its effect will be on the scene with our HDRI. So HDRI only, HDRI with that extra light. And of course, we can take this light right here and let's make it white. We can compare it. So this is when I had the color changed. I had it pink for some reason. Let me just delete that. I usually don't delete these, but I'm just delete that just so we can toggle back and forth. You can also press up and down on your keyboard and go through these. But check this out. You can see what we did, right? We went from this garbage. Oh, it's horrible, you know? And then we use the physical render. Well, ambient occlusion first. Not enough ambient occlusion, too much. Then we took it just right. Now we're using HDRI. Now we rotated it. Now we added this other light in there. And what lighting is just about going back and forth and adjusting it. So right now that light was at 100%. If I take it to 50%, see what it looks like now. So 100% light, 50% light, no light. So this is just HDRI only, and this is with the extra light. So it's a small difference, but it's a difference. And that site, Polyhaven, formerly known as HDRI Haven, has tons of these. So you can use these to populate your scene. Or light your scene, I should say. And yeah, make your materials come to light. So we got shiny, we've got this our chrome and our matte. And everything's looking pretty good. So yeah, this is introduction to lights and materials.